The Man and His Work. The story is told that in 1870, one of the experts at the US Patent Office left his job because he felt that everything had been invented and there was no future in it. It happened at the time when the telephone, the radio, and television had not yet been invented. And when Edison gave the world the electric light, his invention paved the way to the immense use of electricity in the 20th century. The 20th century also gave us the automobile, the airplane, the helicopter, the cinema, the computer, and the nuclear reactor. 2 world wars helped to develop the chemical industry to the level that allowed to produce synthetics and other scientific marvels. Some people believe that inventions occur as the need arises. From this point of view, someone else might have invented the telephone. As it happened, it was Alexander Graham Bell. Born in Scotland, Bell spent his youth in England. His grandfather and father were elocution teachers. While the family lived in England, the parents moved in scientific circles, where experiments were being carried out on the human voice. Alexander and his brother became interested in the subject. They made a puppet with throat organs based on those of the human being, and experimented with reproducing the human voice. Alexander became interested, too, in experimenting with a multiple telegraph that could send more than one message at a time. It was through his interest in this field that he invented the telephone years later. After graduating from the University of London, Alexander was a teacher of the deaf. The family moved to America, where Alexander's father had been asked to read lectures. They emigrated to Canada and settled in Ontario. Within a few months, Alexander accepted a teaching position with the Boston School for the Deaf and left for Massachusetts. In the course of his efforts to perfect a multiple telegraph, Bell had invented a little machine that he had used in teaching the deaf. It was a cylinder with a membrane stretched across one end and a stylus, a thin stick, attached to the membrane. When someone spoke into a cylinder, the membrane vibrated and the stylus traced a zigzag line on smoked glass. This little machine that he called the phonautograph gave him a key to the invention of the telephone. Bell took on an assistant, Thomas A. Watson, who knew about electricity a lot more than Bell did. The 2 men were working on the multiple telegraph when Bell's idea for the telephone came to him. In 1876, when Bell showed his first model of the telephone, it was still a rather simple instrument. This was the year of the centennial that celebrated the first 100 years of progress in the United States. To celebrate the event, they organized a big exhibition in Philadelphia. Bell, who thought that his invention wasn't quite ready, rather reluctantly agreed to exhibit it. The telephone receiver was connected with the transmitter across the room. One of the distinguished guests, the Emperor of Brazil, asked Bell to demonstrate his machine. Leaving the Emperor at the receiver, the inventor went to the transmitter on the other side of the room and started reciting Hamlet's monologue, to be or not to be, into it. The shocked and amazed Emperor soon rushed to Bell with the tails of his formal coat flapping. "It talks!" he cried. The other judges gathered about and took turns listening. Bell's invention was immediately called the greatest of the time. Alexander Graham Bell received the Centennial Prize Awards for both the multiple telegraph and the telephone. In his memoirs, Bell wrote, "I went to bed the night before an unknown man, and awoke to find myself famous.